ruptured all the discs. 2002 Vodafone X here. Got told I'd never walk again. I started ripping donuts around this roundabout, and yeah, police came on about my fifth lap, and yeah, car ended up in the impound yard for 28 days. We'll go grab the coupe and we'll go for a black. What's up? Hey. Yeah, man, the Rotary community in New Zealand. Wow. South Africa is actually pretty crazy too. A lot of RX2s and 616s because there was a manufacturing plant. Mazda had a manufacturing plant in South Africa doing RX2s.
I heard that. A friend of mine, I did a video the other day. He said South Africa, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna jump on this thing.
Holy shit. First drive with bike.
Designed as well, so we've done like a retro seat with NRG that do all our race seats in the pro cars.
So is that something you guys are selling?
Yeah. I don't know how much gas we got, but we'll go until we run out of gas and we get towed back.
Talking about Rotorholics. What's the bro's name? I did an interview
Wayne. Smugs.
Yeah, Smugsy. Yeah, shout out to the bro.
Started together doing the same stuff, building rotors, Rotan Clan, Rotorholics, Rotor Acts. Like, New Zealand was very well known for all the different groups, right?
Did you watch that video I did with the bro?
No, I haven't seen that one. Do I need to watch it? So like, it's crazy that back in the day, right, that even the groups of people, like whether you're a Holden guy, a Ford guy, Rotary guy, there was still the different cliques, right? So Rotorholics, Rotor Act, and it was kind of like some groups had like way nicer show cars and they could do like the Ford Rotonats and they had nicer show cars. Rotorholics and Rotan Clan, we just had cars that did fat skids. We could only afford like 12-way bridges, but a 12-way bridges all we need to do a fat skid, you know, so we're doing all these burnout comps, skid fest, Rotary summer drags, and yeah, but we were very tight. Rotorholics and Rotan Clan were people are like, oh man, I bought that off Mad Mike and it friggin' the diff blew up the friggin' first day or something, I don't know. And it, like, for sure, if I have sold stuff, you know, like I say in the wagon, there's stuff I had to do. There was a point in my life where I was drifting and that wagon came back up for sale when I was like trade me, and at that point it was like $6 grand. And I was like, 6 people like, oh, buy it back, you know, and by that time it'd been repainted white, the PP had been taken out of it, and like $6 grand at that point in my life. I was like I say, drifting at that point. $6 grand was so far beyond like what I could afford. I was just trying to get freaking tires to go drifting in the weekend, you know. So and here we are now. We're in rx3 and it's a friggin' Hot Wheels car, you know, like. And rotating clan, that's the craziest thing.
It's pretty crazy, bro. Like your whole story, like starting here and now you're at the top.
Yeah, and it's because of the respect we get here as well. But like I've always been Rotary has literally fueled my entire career. And like now guys will do rotaries because they're cool, because they're like Instagram fame or whatever. But honestly, like, hey, when we were doing rotaries, no one had internet, let alone freaking inspiration on Instagram and Facebook. So we just did them because they were cool, they were fun as, fast, and good skins, you know.
Now, what about the engine stuff that you
Actually,
guys...
funny story, the silver wagon that used to be hell yeah. So my wagon when I had that was like NA, PP, but it was like one of my main rivals because that was a show car. It used to be always in the car shows. I could never afford the $80 to enter in the car show. We just do the burnout comps. But yeah, so I actually had my wagon impounded because I pulled up to a roundabout. I don't know whether it was the right time or the wrong time, but I started ripping donuts around this roundabout. And yeah, police came on about my fifth lap and yeah, car ended up in the impound yard for 28 days.
What about Series 1, 2 RX-7s? Have you had many of those?
I've had a few.
Bro, how are your ears after all these races and stuff? Like that fucking, that was ear bro, like proper, eh?
Oh yeah, my ears are wrecked. They were wrecked a long time ago.
What about engine building? What are you guys doing at Mad Lab with that?
So we're doing a bit of customer stuff, mainly our stuff at the moment. Still trying to develop some parts like rotor, billet rotors, billet plate. Just trying to really, I don't know, just trying to do it all in house, but at the same time I'm obviously with Gareth and bit well support.
What about the Lambo? When's the last time you got that out?
Actually, like last weekend, it was Red Bull cliff diving. Red Bull cliff diving world champs came to Auckland, so Red Bull, we had it on display. We just kind of use it for like charity stuff now. It's funny when some of my mates are like, man, I'm just trying to convince my wife so I can
too back in the day as well, with Azza was telling me, doing skids around the pit area and that sort of thing? Like,
Oh yeah, I was Azar's worst nightmare, mate, because I would literally just rip skids wherever.
He said that to me. He said back in the day, you used to be pretty.
Yeah, that's where the whole mad came from for people that. Well, actually, before them, when I was doing freestyle motocross, it's at the same time of my era, like through the 90s. You know, never met my father, so I never really had someone to tell me off. My mum gave me the, we never had money, but mum gave me the freedom.
So the boundaries weren't really there for you?
I had no boundaries, and I didn't see having no money as a boundary, because rotors you could do for so cheap. We had the trade and exchange, which would come out on Thursday mornings. Me and my buddy, we would race to the local dairy, and 5 a.m. the dairy would have the trade and exchange. We'd be scrolling the $1,500 and under section, buying freaking Toyota Starlets and dropping bloody 12As in them and whatever. And like, that's just New Zealand culture back in the night. Like I said, we didn't have internet for any inspiration to do what's cool, or I don't know, we were just doing what we had. Yeah, rock up, skids in the middle of town and stuff. I don't condone that stuff for sure, and now there's ways to go about it, but I want to tell the story that, you know, I was far from perfect, and I've built everything I've owned. From having dreams is one thing. If you got the vision, you're already halfway there. The rest of it is hard work and determination. And people say, oh, lucky, or dad buys all this stuff, or sponsors pay for all the stuff, but everything's commitment, everything's time, everything's like, I guarantee I work harder than most, because I don't stop. The people that go home, they're like, oh man, yeah, he's lucky, he's got this, or he's got that. I'm like, well, that person probably has a 7 to 6 job, goes home, turns on the TV and watches documentaries at night, or plays with their kids.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of time I'm away from my family and having to travel, when I'm on a plane, I'm using that as an opportunity. I'm like designing the next crazy build that I can entertain with, whether it's for a film shoot, a world record, a championship. And then it's not just the design process, but then it goes into content planning, partnerships, like all the partners we work with, all the brands. Is it a pro car, is it a demo car? And then that content planning, like how we're going to reveal it, how all my partners are going to get their value out of it. Because the way I look at it is, people invest a lot of me, and then I want to invest everything I possibly freaking can in them, so we all have fun and make a little bit of money. I don't make much money because I spend it all on cars.
Tell me about it.
Break a lot of parts.
What about your Crusty Demons? How did that, talk me through that?
Yeah, so that was...
I know you're talking a lot, bro. I do this to you every time. Do you remember in Queensland?
Yeah, but Queensland I couldn't even talk. Every event I can barely talk, because I just talk all day to fans and stuff, but it's good. Like I say, if I can inspire some people to
bro.
Well,
I
but no, the motocross, again, growing up with mum, never had much money. I got into sign writing. That's my trade out of school, because mum couldn't afford new motorbikes, so I'd go to the sign shops and I'd get all the offcuts and hand cut all my own stickers and make my bikes look different and unique than everyone else.
So how did you get the Crusty Demons gig? How'd that sort of play out? Like, did they see you?
I raced through all my teens, and then broke a lot of bones.
What have you broken?
Oh, fuck. Okay, this is the only leg that doesn't have rods, pins or plates in it. Everything else is, like...
I can see the scar there.
Mate, there's scars there, there's freaking scars there. Bolts going through there, freaking femurs, like broke my back, compressed and fractured 4 vertebrae in my back, ruptured all the discs, 2002 Vodafone X Air. Got told I'd never walk again, but I had my 12A Bridgie Bongo freaking van and ripped that around. But then ended up in hospital for a little while, and then I recovered from that. But that was where the mad white came from.
So
and
shoulders.
Shoulders freaking.
I was going to say dislocated shoulders.
That's freaking all cut open. That's freaking still a little bit wrecked.
So shoulder Rico, yeah?
Yeah, mate, everything. Concussions. Lots. Yeah.
And you're still smiling about it.
Oh, yeah, mate.
What was Crusty Demons like? What was that whole thing?
Well, that was the buzz, man, because when I discovered...
Who were you rolling with, mate?
So, Brian, well, I wasn't rolling with these guys, but this was my... Mate, if I could ever meet these guys, you know, back then, it was Brian Deegan, Mike Metziger, Seth Enslow. They were like the pioneers of FMX, and I was always a bit of a show-off. And I used to get beaten up at school because I was a show-off, and I'm like, well, to me, being a show-off is just entertaining and making people smile, right? And so I went through all this through my teenage years at school, and I was always very small. I was little, so I get picked on, and the funny thing was is then when I was racing, I was always showing off doing tricks, and I'd freaking crash on the last lap, lose a few positions. And Mum was like, "Mike, you probably could have won that race if you hadn't tried that trick on the last jump."
What bikes were they?
I'm like, "Yeah, but Mum, I nearly landed the knack-knack, like the German McGrath knack-knack." Well, I was on like YZ80s, KX80s, thoroughaways, like 4 or 5 years old compared to the rest of the competition.
So all 2 strokes?
All 2 strokes, yeah. Everything 2 strokes, man.
Yeah, so you're
Noisy
rolling...
rotaries, 2 strokes, just...
So how'd you get from NZ over to the States, rolling with those guys? Like, what kind of mixing?
I never rode with Crusties in the States. The Crusties came to New Zealand and did this like Crusty Demons of Dirt freaking NZ tour.
And you got invited to that?
I got invited to that. All I wanted to do was ride with these dudes. All they wanted to do was smoke New Zealand weed. And I'm just like, they're like, "Well, bro, fuck, New Zealand's got the best weed, bro." And I'm just like, all I wanted to do was ride with these guys.
Yeah.
And like back then, no one had camera phones.
Role models?
They were role models,
Yeah.
man. But no one had camera phones to capture these moments. I've got a few grainy photos, like now with social media, people that have captured that. Anyway, it does get really loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like I say, dream big, hustle harder.
Hard, bro. Thanks so much, bro.
All good, man.
And this is where it's at, this thing. Are you gonna let me do a proper lap in it?
You can if you want.
Yeah,
Exactly, man. You can pop an engine, gearbox, diff, whatever we can replace. We just can't replace the body, yeah?
In vain. Alright. Can we have a look underneath the engine bay?